I'm Olek Novak, this is Chasing Cars, and today we are with ANCAP getting an insight into what it is like to crash test a vehicle. Now this is my first time actually seeing the Toyota Prado GXL, the all-new model in the flesh, and we're going to see how it performs in a crash. Before we do all of that, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell below. Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car.
Brought to you by
Budget Direct.
So this test that's taking place today is called a frontal offset crash at 50 kilometers an hour. So what's going to happen is the Prado is going to come down from the other end of the building over there, and it's going to crash into a mobile deformable barrier in this frontal offset crash. So both objects moving at 50 kilometers an hour. So it's the first test that we're going to see. I'm going to get out of the way before they do it. That was the crash of the Toyota Prado at 50 k's an hour. I'm not sure how it came across on camera, but the loudness of the bang is actually, it's quite startling and quite confronting when you think about it. That's actually simulating what an actual crash is like. So really loud, quite confronting in that sense, but that is how the car performed. So obviously now ANCAP will be going through, analysing this, doing some rigorous testing, not just of the Prado over here, but also of the barrier that it crashed into over there as well. So that barrier, it's attached to a four-wheeled construction over there. That weighs about 1,400 kilograms. So again, quite confronting, but also fascinating stuff. So let's now have a bit of a chat to ANCAP about what exactly this test was designed to simulate and what happens from here.
So this crash is simulating a head-on collision. Both the car and the barrier that it crashed into are travelling at 50 kilometres an hour. So it is what you would see in a suburban street. What we're looking at with this test is both the restraint systems and the structure of the car. How well does it protect the occupants inside? But we're also looking at what it's done to the trolley and the barrier on the front there. So that's simulating a small car at around 1,400 kilos. And we're looking at how much damage or intrusion this vehicle causes to the barrier, and we call that compatibility, and we give it a score.
And I noticed there's a lot of wires coming out of these dummies and the vehicle over there. Can you tell us a bit about that as well, and what happens from here after the test?
Yeah, so there's a lot of data that we download from the vehicle. Next, we have dummies in this vehicle that are all instrumented. So we're capturing data, and at the moment the team is downloading that data into a computer where we're going to collaborate all the scores together, and we'll get a reading and an initial score from this crash test. Then there's a secondary procedure where we go into the vehicle after the crash and take a number of measurements, look at certain features and see what's actually happened, and then the manufacturer might be asked to provide additional information, and that can either improve their score, or in some cases it might mean that we deduct some more points. So there's a very lengthy process, and this is just one crash test out of the 4 crash tests that we look at to compile the rating. So usually we destroy 4 in this process. There's also active safety testing that we do, where we take a car out on a track and we see how the AEB and the lane support systems perform. And we also do pedestrian impact testing, where we're firing head forms and leg forms that replicate parts of a person that might hit the front of the car if they're a pedestrian or a cyclist, and we look at how well the car protects them in the instance where they do actually impact. Then there's a whole bunch of additional information that manufacturers provide through a dossier, where they demonstrate compliance with certain other requirements that we have.
You've obviously seen quite a few of these. This is my first time ever seeing a crash test. Is there anything checking this out that struck you the first time you kind of saw this, or anything that you reckon that I and the viewers should kind of keep an eye out for in terms of this wreckage that we've got in front of us here?
Look, I think the biggest message for people is this is 50 kilometres an hour. This is your suburban street, and you saw what a big bang it was. Really, speed is a huge factor in crashes, and we test at these speeds because we know we can control for them, and we know that we can design vehicles that protect occupants. When you start getting into those higher speeds, really it's an exponential increase in force that's being felt. So you know, it is impactful at 50 kilometres an hour, and I think for everyone who sees this test, you really think about the speed that you're doing yourself when you're driving. So the crash tests that we undertake are all scheduled out based on both lab and manufacturer availability. So we'll be rolling out that program over the next month or so. once all of the results are finished, then we go through the process of checking all of that and finalising with the manufacturer, and then we put the result out.
So there you go, everyone. I hope you had a bit of an interesting insight into just what goes on behind the scenes at ANCAP. Now, this was a fascinating experience for me. I hope it was for you as well. My first time seeing the new Toyota Prado in the flesh, and what a way to see it destroyed in a crash test. So let us know what you thought about the experience in the comments section down below. Let us know any questions you have and your feedback about this video. We'd love to hear it. While you're there, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching Chasing Cars.